Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of What Ted Says, where it's always time to get a fatter wallet and a bigger net worth. And people, they're going to concerts like crazy today. People are going to sporting events like crazy today. So a lot of people ask me, well, is one website better than another when it comes to tickets? And recently I went to see an Atlanta Falcons game, and I decided to test this out myself by buying the tickets on game day. And what I learned is not exactly what I thought, because I had always been told that some websites out there are always more expensive, i.e. one like Ticketmaster. And I was always told that there are other websites out there like SeatGeek and Game Time are going to be cheaper. But what I found that day when I did the Atlanta Falcons tickets is that Ticketmaster was actually the cheapest. It's not always going to be the case, but I want to show you what you should be looking out for when you look at these sites, how you don't get tricked into it or fooled into what's called to be dark patterns, and the way to buy the ticket. So I'm taping this on the eve of the national championship football game with Michigan and Washington. So we're going to go in here and come with me. And we're going to look at buying some tickets to see what they cost. By the way, depending upon where you buy it in the stadium as well, will also factor into the ticket prices, because Ticketmaster does dynamic pricing, so we have to remember that that is a part of a factor. And also there's verified resale tickets versus regular tickets. So I'm just going to show you an example of this. To make this a fair comparison, I'm going to go into section 107. And you see when I click in 107, the only thing that's available on the verified resale. Now this is going to be a little bit more expensive on Ticketmaster because it is verified resale. It says $3,757 plus fees. This is the magical word in here, because you would automatically assume that fees on all the sites would be the same, maybe 20% of the ticket, 30% of the ticket, but they are not all the same, and they're not all the same all the time. It's why my recommendation on What Ted Says that you always shop 3 different sites. So we go in here and we're looking at these 2 tickets, and you can see it says $37.57, and I'm going to click buy now. Now in Ticketmaster, what's at least good about it is it will immediately show you the cost of the service fees. So you can see in here that the service fees are $788, and that's gonna represent roughly a 20% markup on the overall ticket. Then there's a small order processing fee, so it's $9,094.89. Let's remember that as option 1, Ticketmaster, $9,094.89. Remember, this is verified resale. Now, one of the growing popular websites that are out there is GameTime.co. And what was supposed to be great about GameTime.co is that if you're willing to wait up to the game time, and think about this, normally on teams that may not be quite as good or concerts that may not have been sold out, this is where you can generally get a better deal. But on game time, where they trick you a little bit is that the price relative to the service fees is not going to be as comparable. The service fees that I have found in doing this numerous amounts of times will be higher. Now you can see I'm going to go into section 107, and you can see that the price of the ticket as I click on this is $2,892. Compare that to the Ticketmaster, where the price was $3,757. The base price of the ticket looks to be about $900 cheaper each, which actually is really good. So when I go on here and then I hit continue, what it's going to ask me for, it's going to ask me if I want to pay Google Pay or a card. Now you're going to see this in SeatGeek in just a second, but GameTime.co, it actually shows you at the bottom that the total of fees is $7,762. So in this case, the service fees are about the same, about 20%, but it's not true all the time. I've seen Game Time's service fees be as high as 50%. So again, this does depend on the ticket. I wouldn't have universality when it comes to it. So those tickets at $77.62 to go see the game tonight. Then I'm going to look at the third one on here, which is going to be SeatGeek, which is another one that lends itself out to be cheaper than Vivid Seats or Ticketmaster or StubHub or a couple of the main vendors that you have out there. But I'd always shop 3 sites. These tickets in 107EE, if you see this, is $2,938 a ticket. So it's almost the same price as Game Time. So one would imagine if you just looked at those tickets, you get the same deal on both those sites. Now, what I don't particularly like about SeatGeek, and I'm not going to go through the whole secure checkout, is SeatGeek makes you play this game of saying, we're not going to show you the final price until you put in your mobile number, which you'd see I'd have to do here. See, I have to put in my mobile number. And I go to continue to billing. Then it's going to make me put in all my billing information, which I'm not going to do. But you'd have to put in all your billing information. And what it's doing when I talk about dark patterns, this isn't exactly it. But it's making you go through the process where you're like, oh gosh, I don't want to have to reset this and do it on another website. When I put in my credit card information, the fees on SeatGeek were $1,125. And so that made the total amount $8,127.68. So the fees were actually a little bit higher and made that price roughly $400 higher than Game Time. So the same seats at the same game with the same tickets, 107EE for the national championship, $7,762 for Game Time, $8,127 for SeatGeek, $9,000 on Ticketmaster. So in this case, a $1,300 difference by you simply going to a different website. What's the moral of the story? No matter what you read on the internet, you're going to find if you shop these sites, it's never the same deal in the same place at the same time. The big thing that I would tell you is shop 3 sites, go through the process. Don't worry about the seats getting taken out. It's the way that these companies try to basically indulge you into buying the tickets or get that motor going. We call it arousal sometimes in order to be able to buy those tickets. And you can often find yourself at least the best deal on that particular seat. Make sure you're always comparing apples to apples. Otherwise, you're not really comparing the same seats. That's your episode of What Ted Says. Hopefully this helps you buy tickets in a better way. Thanks.